Hi, everybody. It's Diane Neto living in Barrie. Today, I saw a thing on the internet about the top 3 mistakes sellers make. And I agreed with a couple, but I didn't agree with all. And I was thinking I should do my top 3 mistakes sellers make. So I wrote them out for you and to share it with you. And I've been on calls even this morning with agents dealing with people that are seeing a couple high price listings and thinks their house needs to be priced higher than it should be. And, even though you see all these listings out there at this price and you think your house looks comparable, they're not selling at that price. And you might find the odd one that does sell higher, but by and large, over 80% of the inventory is sitting, it's not selling. So the top 3 mistakes: number one, overpriced. So if you see a whole bunch of listings out there around your price range and you think, well, I'm the same as that, you have to keep in mind they're not selling at that price. So if you want to sell and you're serious about selling, you have to be lower than those people that have been sitting there for 60 days and not selling. Obviously, it's not going to work. Secondly, if you are not getting action right away, if you're not getting showings, if you have no interest at all in the first couple weeks, then do a price change. If you really need to sell, you can't just, especially right now, because this is like the fall market. Once we get into November, December, you're cooched. So you better, make adjustments quick if it's not working. And look at the solds and more than one. And what I mean by that is sometimes you get the odd unicorn, right? Where it just sells at a high price, but no one else in the neighborhood has. And I find that you go to listing appointments and people focus on that one that sold high, and they're not really, we see what we want to see, right? And we hear what we want to hear. So they're looking at just that one and not the 3 that sold way lower than that. So be realistic and don't go at the price everybody else in your category is going, because they're not selling in that category. They're sitting and sitting and sitting. The next thing is showing restrictions. So if you try to say, I only want between 1 and 3, or Monday to Friday, or I only want from 4 to 7 Monday to Friday, and then I only want Saturday, I only want to do 9 to 1. Like, a lot of these appointments are made with not a lot of time. And a Toronto agent will come up here to this area, Barrie, Aurelia, Innisfil, and they don't make appointments that far ahead of time. So if you restrict the showings, we put it right, it's computerized and it's right in the system. So the agent can't even book it. So even if your seller would say, hey, I would have actually done that. I wasn't even home this afternoon. By putting those restrictions in there, you can't book an appointment. So I was in Innisfil last weekend and I wanted to show a property. I had a client with me and it was vacant, but they wanted 2-hour notice. Couldn't get in. So we went on our merry way. So be careful that you're not restricting people. And, when I have very dedicated and motivated sellers, they're dropping everything, even if they have 10 minutes notice to let somebody in, because you only need one buyer, right? There's in that one person you could restrict, could go down the street and look at another one and buy that one instead, and they're gone. They don't come back. And, I find that all the time is that if you get turned down for a showing, you rarely see that agent make the showing again. And I've had it with my own clients when I'm with buyers, and I'll say, oh, well, we can't go at this time. And they say, okay, forget it. They pick other listings. They kind of never go back to it. They don't bother. The third big mistake that I see is pictures matter, meaning people look at pictures on realtor.ca and that's what makes them decide if they want to see that property. If there's 80 listings in your in your price range, an agent's only going to show 5 or 6 an afternoon. They're not going to go and show 80. Okay. That's not happening. So they're going to go through those pictures and they're going to pick the top 5 based on what they're seeing on realtor.ca or on their board, which is the same pictures, right? So you have to realize that if I'm a buying agent, so you always, as a seller, put yourself in the mind of a buyer. Okay. Forget about that you're selling right now. Pretending you're out there in your price range and you're buying. So now I'm going through realtor.ca. Well, the first 1 or 2 pictures are horrible, or I see bad paint, or I see this, if there's garbage all over, boom, I'm off to the next one, off to the next one, off to the next one. Like, and then I look at one and, ooh, look, it looks like it was just painted. Ooh, it's looking like, it looks really nice. It's not cluttered. And so even if you have to put all your crap in the garage, nobody cares if your garage is cluttered. And in general, you don't really see pictures inside the garage, do you? No, because nobody's garage is like pristine, right? So even if you have to declutter and put your stuff in the garage and try to make it look spacious, make sure it's a professional photographer, not iPhone pictures, not all different sizes, not old pictures. That's one thing Mark goes crazy is when we're selling right now and the pictures have snow in them, because then it's an old listing and it's been sitting forever. So you have to try to make those pictures look good enough that's enticing somebody. And I suggest you go on realtor.ca, put in the filter. If you're listed between 8 and 900, put in the city you're in, put 8 to 900 and look at the pictures. And tell me how many you would want to make an appointment at and how many you wouldn't. And how many would you totally disregard and why? So when you put yourself in that mindset, you come up with a different, more, I don't know what you call it, but it's you're being more objective. So let's be realistic and objective about our own houses. Forget about the emotions. Forget about, oh, but I put in this flooring and it was way more than that flooring. Unfortunately, in general, buyers don't care about that. Honestly, a lot of people like laminate now more than hardwood if they have dogs and kids, because dogs and kids can scratch hardwood. So as long as the flooring looks really nice and it's a nice color, most people don't care as much as you would think. Now, if the kitchen's totally outdated, if it's wood, paint it out. Even that can do a huge facelift, and it's not a lot of money. Because in those pictures, people are looking, they're thinking, oh, it's dated. Oh, I got to do this. I got to do that. Well, you know what? There's so many out there. I'm going to go look at the next one. You got to remember that we're in the highest inventory that we've been in for years and years and years. People have choices, and you want yours to be chosen. Even to get them in the door is hard right now, and get showings. So those are my top 3. Hit the like, subscribe, drop me a comment if you'd like me to cover something for you.